So, all right, I'm gonna call
You mean want to be heard?
the,
Oh, I speak right into the mic.
the Budget Committee meeting of November 3rd. The order, it is about 7:02. Mike, you wanna start with a introduction?
Michael Kelly. Jeffrey Morrison.
Thomas Budkevich.
Tom LeVay?
John Decker,
John Moran?
Carol Martin, School Board Rep.
Robert Kelly.
did people review minutes from the last meeting?
Oh, got a motion to approve the minutes of 10/6/22.
I'll second the motion.
All right. All in favor of accepting the minutes of 10, whatever it was, 2?
10/6/22.
10-6. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm abstaining.
Abstain.
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 So, all right, so we have
4 abstains.
4 abstain, so we got enough to pass them? 1, 2, all right. So who's abstaining, just so they could get it on
I
the,
wasn't here.
all right. So Bob, Carol, John, and Tom.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Next thing on the agenda is the town default budget. There's some info in the packet. Okay. Are you talking to this, John?
Yeah, the default budget is 4,541,263. If the proposed budget, when we get to the original budget, doesn't pass, that will be the default budget. I mean, it's self-explanatory.
Yeah, it's. All right,
I'm more interested in diving into the original budget when we get to that point, because that's gonna be the real deciding factor of where we sit.
right,
If that one fails in front of the town, then default budget is the one that we fall to.
So the default is a 2.7% increase. Am I right about that?
I don't know the percentage, but if you figured it out to be that, I'll take your word for it. I didn't actually take the time to actually figure out the percentage, so.
Do we get a copy of the whole thing? Or is it not ready yet?
Well, we haven't even, like, we're
regular
just
budget?
looking at the budget now. We're
Okay.
Finally meeting with
No,
people.
no, I mean the default budget.
I don't have a copy of it.
Okay.
Whether there's one out there, I'm sure,
else
but
trying to
I wasn't presented one with,
It's-
at my
I didn't
meeting
notice
or
there was
this
a
one.
share of this.
They probably just looked at last year's budget. Said,
Typically, that's what it is. It's last year's budget with whatever minuscule increase that there's on there.
Yeah.
Not including what the changes from, let's say, adding things as, you know, adding, for the planning board, they wanna add, Stratford Regional Planning, you know, there's a $6,000 add-on there for the services getting there. That, you know, default budget goes, that ain't going. The stuff, I mean, just an example, but
Yeah,
a lot
we-
of those things that the departments are asking for as extras, you know, if the budget fails, then we're not getting it. You're not
Right,
getting anything.
but it's important for us to go over the default budget, because we have to make sure that, you know, like one-time items don't get carried through on that type of thing. There's certain things that don't get carried through on a default budget.
right,
This
so
committee
they-
actually doesn't have any say over the default budget.
No,
They review it, but they don't have any say.
Yeah, but it's not legal to put those one-time costs or things into the default budget, so when we point them out, then you have to change them.
You're looking to make sure there's no mistakes on it.
Exactly.
Sure, that's understandable.
so it was basically the, debt service is what basically came out. So if you take out the Mulligan Forest, the fire station, and the Mulligan, well, that's the interest from that.
Yeah.
And, yeah, the 2 interests. So that should equal the 103,000. Then you add in the fire personnel. Okay. Assuming that there's no other things that should be in that reduction category, regular budget. That's pretty much what it is.
John, are you gonna tell us about the new tax cap becoming an annual calculation in a separate report? Or is that somebody else gonna tell us about that?
Wait, sorry, I don't understand the question.
On here, it says that the new tax cap will also become an annual calculation, which I will address in a separate report, but I don't know.
That was written by Chris Sterndale, not
Oh,
by me, so.
well, he's not gonna be giving us another report.
So, the new TA, and again, we haven't talked about that, because again, we didn't even talk about default budget at the select board meeting. Because again, I thought our meeting on this was next Thursday, so I didn't even bring up this, because when I looked on the schedule, I thought it was a mistake to have two meetings to talk about something as minor as this. I didn't know why we had to schedule 2 Thursdays, where we could just be scheduling one to talk about something as simple, you know, as this, where the main budget is gonna be the one that's gonna be more time consuming. So, I was unprepared until I saw this on Tuesday.
Is this basically what we got in the email? I didn't open the PDF. It wasn't like a whole budget?
No, it was this, it was,
This one on the schedule.
Okay.
Do we have a school, default budget?
What's that?
Do we have a school default budget?
Are you done with the 10?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's,
I'm just asking, that's the next.
So,
one,
we just reviewed a first draft last night. I had told Michelle that we would not likely have it ready for today because it was the first time for us seeing it. And we still don't have a business administrator or a finance manager, so our superintendent put it together with some help of a friend who's a BA. We had a few issues, questions about it last night, so it's not ready. But overall, I think we're probably looking around the same increase. It was a little over 2%, but that didn't include a few items that he's following up on. So it didn't break out the SAU expenses, because that used to be a lump sum payment to SAU 44, and it was put into the current budget as a lump sum amount. But for purposes of this year, we need to break it out into the correct lines, and so that part of it wasn't done yet. And then there was a question about the bus contract, so he's following up on that. So we may have a draft for next Thursday, even though the board won't meet again before then. And then we'll have to go through legal review because we have our legal counsel review it. So it won't be final, but we hopefully will have a draft for next Thursday.
It's supposed to be a draft anyway, right?
Yep. But in order to do the default, you have to adjust, for us at least, all the special ed costs, which are legally obligated, and personnel costs based on changes in positions last year, so it does require changing a number of lines.
Oh, yeah, you guys have a lot more lines to change.
So that part of it is done already.
so you're making progress.
Oh, yeah,
All right.
That's good.
progress. They have more progress than we had a BA.
is that a position that's being hard to find?
It's very, very hard to find, yes. MRI can't even give us anyone.
Right. Committee reports? Not committees are anymore.
Basically me, I think.
Anything on school facilities, Tom?
They haven't met.
Do you know when the next school facilities meeting is?
They let me know. They haven't told me.
Okay. You guys just-
They may not do anything because, didn't Kathy say that they
there's no plans to put anything forward this
They
year.
are meeting, there was a walkthrough, were you invited to that one? That was the last
Yeah,
one.
that was a while ago. that's why.
They are meeting, we have a number of more, maintenance type issues right now, so we may end up having to do warrant articles for that. I can't explain the whole issue with it, but there's an issue with the heating system that we're getting quotes from our current vendor, and then we're putting it out to RFP, which is something we may need to do more immediately. And then we're looking at, for our warrant articles, whether to do any of the roof and air handler issues that have been on the CIP for a while.
So that kind of covers, I think most of my question is like, the Facilities Commission handles other things besides like getting an addition. So would that handle things like, doing motion sensors and timers on lighting to save electricity and solar panel plans?
It could,
Okay.
we can't do the solar panels until we do the roof.
Well, so that's something I had talked to the Conservation Commission about and then brought up at the school board meeting. I don't think you were there that week, but the Conservation Committee, they said that one thing to look at is instead of having to do the solar panels on the roof, which would require you to replace the roof before you do the solar panels, is to do a ground array, and then you can do like a sun tracking thing as well.
And we need to do the roof for the roof. So there's two sections of roof, there's the flat roof, and then there's the pitched roof, and both of them need to be replaced, and both have been on the CIP for a number of years. They were put off, because part of the building addition would have, I think, done the flat roof. So we're looking at whether to do those both at the same time, or do them, separately. The flat roof is over the gym, and that has had leaks, so in the past.
Yeah, I'm not suggesting this is a way to avoid fixing the roof. It's just, it's another option for the solar to look at the pricing and the efficiency and what kind of generation you can get from a ground array, because the school seems to have on the property some areas that might be suitable for such a thing.
Do you know which one's better?
Huh?
Do you know which one's better?
Well, it's more expensive.
Well, the
for
ground array is easier to do maintenance on, and you can have it exactly angled the way you want, or you can have it on a tracker that follows the sun, versus if it's on a roof, like an angled roof, you get whatever the angle of the roof is. So if it's pointed in the right direction, then it could be good. If it's not optimal, but if it's on the ground, you can point it however you want.
But I thought it was more expensive. The roof's a cheaper option. Don't they have the one on Flutter Street that follows it, you know what I mean?
Yep.
I mean, yeah, you do get more efficiency out of it, but I know they're more expensive. They tilt down, you know what I mean, if the wind goes, and then in the morning they tilt up to drop the snow off of it, stuff like
Yeah.
that.
So I'm
They're
just
pretty
asking that the school looks at that as another alternative and prices that out and doesn't get like tunnel vision on, we have to put them on the roof, because there may be a better option.
Well, most people do. If there's the option put on the roof, most people do. Mine wasn't an option because I'm not southern exposure. They're like, nope. They look right at Google Maps, say, nope, you're not a candidate. You know, it's that simple. And like you said, it's just more expensive. I think those follow the regular like 15 grand a piece. You know, I mean, that was years ago when I did all that research homework. I think it was a Vermont company actually did it, built those ones. But yeah, I mean, it's subsidies, so you know, what I mean, it's the way to do it now. That's where it's going. You know.
Yeah, they're
had-
upping the subsidy next year, so.
We've had vendors out, and there would be no upfront cost to do it, but they looked at.
Well,
No, see you.
no, that's,
Yeah.
see, that's what they did here in this building, and they got a real bad deal. So they said no upfront costs, but it forces the town to buy the power from that company at an inflated rate, and then 10, 15 years later, we have the option to buy the used panels, which may be nearing the end of their life, at a time when comparable panels have come down in price much below that. So it's much better to just buy the panels outright, because if you think about it, this company is offering you, no money down, free stuff, because they're making money off of it.
They get the subsidies, the companies.
Yeah.
I mean, Buddy and Epping has one. He's grandfathered in, and he gets peak wattage. You know what I mean? They don't do that anymore. If he adds on to the system, it's void. You know what I mean? If you try to expand later in the future, he's void, so he can't even add more.
Yeah.
He's locked in.
About the only benefit to the not having to pay an upfront cost is that you can then try to trick the voters by saying, it's not gonna cost us anything.
Well, it's better if you just buy it outright. It's gonna save the
Yeah.
school, it's gonna save the taxpayers, everybody wins.
Yep.
Right, you gotta look at the right of, the ROI.
There's a lot to look at, I'm sure.
return on investment. All right, so anything else with the school board then, since we're talking?
Question, Kara, were they talking about a paving project or something that needed to be done paving wise?
It's also on the CIP. I don't think the paving would be this year because it's not, immediate. There's around the back of the school, which is not paved currently, and then there's the actual parking lot, but both of those are on the CIP. Unlikely that that would be this year.
Do we have a CIP rep on the budget committee?
We do, and that was, Michelle is the rep for CIP, and I don't know if they've had any meetings, I don't know if
They-
you've heard anything, John?
They have not.
No, Carol, you're the rep for the school,
Well,
or?
no, I'm not the rep for the school, but we have not been notified of any.
I'm the rep for the planning board, and I haven't heard
Oh, yeah,
anything.
that's right, I remember
We've been working on ours.
So the current CIP is probably the same one I saw like a year ago.
that. It would be if.
They wouldn't
that's-
update it,
Roughly, I would
Yeah,
say.
We update ours every year, and we're working on updating it.
right,
but I meant like it didn't get updated in the summer or something
No.
like that, so.
No, that
And
would
stuff
be-
generally goes on there and sits on there for a while, right?
It's on the town report.
It's the main purpose, right?
Yeah, so I'm just wondering when we need to review it. Like-
well, it should be reviewed every year, but it should
It is
just kind of, like, things should come off, new things should be added and basically reviewed. So, they may shift priority or whatever. All right, anything from the select board?
Yeah, we're busy. Welcome to budget season. It's gonna be we're meeting with all the, we haven't met with them all yet, but, the police department, fire department, rec, going over some preliminary, their budgets of what they're proposing, planning boards, again, we're just gathering all the information right now, so we're in the beginning stages. That took up most of our meetings. We had a meeting, if you didn't watch, we have a buildings committee in town, which was very enlightening to tell us how bad, a lot of our buildings are in town. But,
You were surprised by that?
no, not at all, because, like normal, we've been doing it for years, and I don't care, it's been, and I wanna say for many, many years, no matter what it is, we've always put non-priority stuff, and that stuff never gets taken care of, so it's just a snowball effect. And that's the reason why they're the way they are now, is because, when we abandoned the old fire station there, no one wants to throw money into an old building that's only been used as storage. Well, obviously, there's lots of problems with it now, but that's, of course, we didn't do anything with it. The problem out back, we know that's a crap, mess that's sitting behind this building, but it cost a real lot of money to take it down and all this. So obviously that, when you're looking at what you're gonna spend, well, that loses its priority because that money should be spent somewhere else than on a more necessary project. So again, now it's a real big mess that's out back because it's been sitting like that for 20-something years. So again, it's just the police department needs to be upgraded from what they did when they moved in there. There's things that need to go on in there, that, workspace is this, but again, our old chief was great, I think the wrong gunner, but, he was very minimal on what he would do and what he wanted to do, or not, but that's now affecting the future, so it's just,
What was it?
and I'd say that, the old, you look at the old, municipal building here on Flutter Street. There's no area for the guys that work there to take a break, so when they go plowing, they come back, they sit in a chair like this, and, that's it, there's no table for them, there's no TV, and there's nothing for them to chill out during the snowstorms, when they, instead of driving all the way home and coming back 2 hours later to replow their routes, they're sitting just in a big garage building. It's not the most people wouldn't find that the most accommodating, I don't wanna call it a rec room, but
Break room.
break room, right, there you go, so that's the word I was, cause it's, and the bathroom upgrades, and we all know, we're not even gonna go with the transfer station, what that building's all about, because that's just been that's just, everybody knows, if you look inside, you can see what it is.
What were they
You wouldn't put
talking
that as
about?
our highlight of our attractive town of
nicest buildings to go visit. And even this building, we got windows that are old, you know.
But the
same
windows were mostly all replaced, like,
Yeah, there's some that weren't.
yeah, I know that there's some
You know,
that
there's
weren't
some
on
that
that
still
side.
leak. Right, so again, it's just more,
But-
and so that's just a lightening of a cost that's gonna be, you know, some days it's gonna be fixed. But whether it's, you know, now or sooner, we'll figure it out, because, you know, obviously, we're restricted on money, so it's, you can only spend so much in order to get things accomplished, so, you know, down the road where there's warrant articles, but then you gotta find the need of what you're gonna put for a warrant article, whether it's justified to make a warrant article to fix it at a cost, when there's another warrant article that would be more cost-effective for the use for the town. So you're kind of weighing out the, instead of going out through and, you know, I know some people have the idea, and again, I'm just on a little spat right now, so just listen and go. You know, we could write out 50 warrant articles, of all these different things, and just put tons of different money, but, you know, we don't wanna do that, cause we don't wanna see that cost either, you know, affected to the town. So when you look at it, you're trying to do it in a responsible way, so that the increases or what you need to get done are done in a way that's, you know, relatively slow-hilled, not a spike, you know, so, I mean, that's what we're doing there. We're looking for our new town administrator. Our job application that we're the guy, not job application, but whatever,
Posting.
is done on the 16th, so we should be interviewing sometime after that. So hopefully, if everything goes right, we'll have a new town administrator maybe before the end of the year. But again, there's gonna be discussions on that, because when it comes down to pay, you know, what are we willing to pay as a town for a town administrator towards what some others towns? I mean, that's one of the reasons why we lost our other one, because another town was willing to pay him a lot more money, and I say a lot more. It was more than 10% more than what we were willing to pay. So, you know, that's something where we're gonna have to see, you know, when we start talking financials with whoever we get, you know, are we gonna find the ground that's acceptable? We don't know what they're gonna ask for when they sit in the interview. They could ask for something way more than what we're even close to.
Does the board prioritize applications from residents in town? It'd be good to have somebody that actually lives in Nottingham running the town.
We take everybody. Like, we're not saying, if the quality candidate's in front of us, you know, whether you're from town or you're from next town over or wherever, if you're qualified and we can agree with a price and you have everything that's good, I mean, that's the precedence. You know, I mean, if you live in town and you're two of the same, chances are, I don't wanna say that we would, but we might take the town person. That's not unlikely. But again, that's gonna, you know, because everybody wants to hire in town. We wanna keep everybody in town, but that's just becoming a unreality that, you know, people in town wanna work. I mean, I'm not saying, I mean, just, you know, there's a very slight chance that it's gonna be somebody from town. But
People
again,
like,
I'd love to see somebody from town. It'd be great.
they like working from home now, and that's hard to break now, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And the money's good, and the things, times and efforts, you know, I mean,
Commute costs.
town administrator's not the easiest job with everything you gotta do, with the hours you gotta put in, meetings you gotta go to, obligations that are along with it, employees you gotta deal with. You know, it's not like working for yourself, and then you got 5 board members to tell you what their opinion is on top of how you're doing your job, so. So that's something that's, you know, and then, obviously, we're having a big problem in town too now is, and again, I don't mean to just burden you with all town problems, but that's what it is retaining town employees. We almost, you know, there's a chance we could lose a firefighter to a surrounding town. I'm not gonna go into the details, but our neighbors are willing to steal our employees. That's how cutthroat it's come. So, you know, we're not the highest paying town around.
Is that one of
We're not
the,
even close to being the highest paying town, we're at the bottom scale, so either we're going to be losing people, because these are the towns that are looking for police officers, because it's a, you know, you need more of them than what there's out there in the field, so the town's seeing it, same with the fire department, you know, it's happening, even our librarian, there. You know, the services that they want, that people want, they had a class thing that was going on, and it was set up for 10 kids. They had 50 people apply, you know, to have their kids go to these programs that they're offering. But they don't have the staffing, they can't pay for the staffing. And then our head librarian there, I mean, she's the lowest paid out of like 12 towns around, that we circle around here. I mean, significantly lower.
Great.
Get you that report. What?
Great.
I said great.
Well, it's great,
No,
but
it's
she,
not.
but, you know, the problem is, she can easily just, when the next opportunity opens up,
You're done, you're not
Yeah.
gonna find anybody.
It's not always about the money either,
It's
it's who
just
you
that's
work
fine.
with.
Well, you know, it's
the
like by
environment
state
you're in.
law, it's
There's a
like
lot more
almost
factors
impossible to
into it.
fire a librarian, so.
well, we're not firing anybody.
Funny
I
job.
know.
We're trying to keep them. I mean, that's the, I mean, that's at the point right
Some
now
people
is,
aren't happy, you know,
right, and if you're not happy and you wanna leave, well, that's your
sometimes money
choice of
doesn't
doing it.
matter, right?
So John, the
We're not
firefighter,
holding anybody here
Right.
like, with a gun saying, hey, you
That's
can't leave
everywhere,
our
our
town.
industries, we're all struggling, you know,
Yeah.
all the industries are.
So these are things that are, you know, I mean, those are services that people in town are requiring, but, you know, we have to find a way to fund those services,
Right.
you know, and again, we're on a limited budget of what we can spend, so that's why things are gonna get cut, money's gonna have to get moved, so it's gonna be a difficult time for, the BOS and coming up because of what our restrictions are to try to, you know, work within the budget that we're at, so, you know, there's people that aren't gonna like what's gonna happen. But hey, what are you gonna do?
Do the best you can with what you have. you know
That's
what I
it.
mean?
That's
all you
what
can
we're gonna do.
Sometimes you're gonna win, sometimes you won't.
That's what we're gonna do.
so
You know,
John,
that's what it
the
is.
firefighter that is left or is
No, no,
leaving?
no, I didn't say left, no one
Okay,
left.
all right, well, is it one of the people that were here for a long time or one of the new hires?
Not gonna talk about the people in personnel, I'm just
Okay,
saying.
maybe I'll just ask the fire chief, because I know that part of the sell for expanding to a bunch of full-time positions was that then they could do these, I think it was 12-hour shifts or something
Well, you
like
can see it
that?
on the budget, so on the budget committee, you'll look at this right there, we have a line item that's in there, and they're saying for the employees, and this is the appointment, you're looking at the budget, he has it budgeted out at $22 an hour average for all the new hires, right? But everybody around is hiring for more than that.
Yeah,
So trying to find that new hire for that price might actually not be feasible in the budget that he's presented to get those positions filled. So this is where, that's where the real concern is that we're trying to move from a part-time, you know, because again, lack of, you know, volunteer, I mean, everybody knows the kind of reasons, I don't have to explain them. But in order to move, you know, forward to have these, the coverage for the 24 hours and stuff like this, you know, the bigger facilities that are all the Dovers and Portsmouth and those that have, you know, I mean, our facility's very nice for Nottingham. You know, we did a nice job setting up the rooms and everything upstairs and it's good. You know, but you're competing against, you know, bigger crews that where you get there, you can work with, you know, 10 other guys, it's, you know, it's a different, or, you know, women, whatever. The atmosphere is different, so you're trying, I mean, it's a struggle for the chief, and I feel for him, you know, for what we're asking him to do with what he has. And that's the thing, and it's not that, you know, I'm sure every employee in town, you know, can be looking at another job. It's just, you know, whether, you know, I hope that employee, any employee that's looking at another job somewhere else will at least come to ask us if we have the money to, because if they wanna stay here, if we can offer them some more money, because, you know, that's the ideal situation for us. It's a lot easier to, you know, to have somebody say, oh, I want $2 more an hour, or whatever it is, to give them the $2.
Then
than
walk.
go try to find, then have them walk.
Yeah.
They're trying to hire somebody, go through the whole program, then the retraining program, and everything. And then, you know, obviously it puts a strain on all the other people that are working, because they now have to cover. We have that position right now in the planning board, where our land use clerk, has left us. He finished his last day on Friday, so we have nobody to fill that. So if you're coming in for a subdivision, you know, there's nobody to talk to. You know, we got Kelly kind of working, or we got the interim town administrator working on that, you know, trying to help out. But again, those aren't their jobs, they're filling in another job, which is taken away from doing the job that they're supposed to be doing. And so we're trying to fill that job. You know, so that's a big position, because there's people are trying to do subdivisions in town, they're coming through, our zoning ordinances are 30 pages long, so you have to have somebody that's gonna help, you know, go through people, even if you wanna do a backlot subdivision, or if you just wanna take your parcel and make 2 lots, you still gotta go from the planning board, you still gotta go through all this. Now, most homeowners don't wanna have to go hire somebody just to split their lot, so it'd be nice to have a guy in town that works for the town that can say, this is what you need to do. But guess what? That guy's not there. So that homeowner that wants to split his parcel, you know, because he's got 5 acres and make 2 here, 2.5 or whatever, 3 here, well, he's gonna have to maybe hire somebody in order to go through the process, or he comes to the planning board 12 times, and we'll try to walk him through it, but our schedules are so busy, our planning board meetings go 3 to 4 hours every single time. Last planning board meeting, we didn't get up till 10:30 at night. So it's, again, constraints of employees and finding people that's the problem with what's happening right now, and the Board of Selectmen is dealing with the best that we can. You know, it'd be nice to be able to throw money at everybody and say, here you go, end our
Sometimes
problems.
it doesn't solve everything though, you know?
No,
There's
you're right, it
challenges
doesn't.
everywhere, everyone's challenging, you know what I mean? It's just-
And I'm not saying that's the
unfortunately, it's just the
solution.
environment we're in right
It's
now.
just what we're in, right, so,
You know,
but we're gonna do our best with what we have, and, you know, in order to, that's the best, like, you know, I can't guarantee anything to anybody, but I can just say, we're gonna put our best foot forward and try to do what's best for the town, you know, cause we're all residents like everybody else, and we'll see where it turns, and hopefully we don't piss off that many people. You know, but
can't please everybody.
that's
I have one question.
gonna happen.
I went to the recycling center.
God, geez.
I don't have a problem there ever, you know?
No,
Get it.
let me finish. A comment had been brought up before, which I never really paid attention to, but anyways, I went this morning and there's a certain individual that's always in a very posed position with a cigarette.
Yeah,
And I'm like, in the real world, most people will get a break from their jobs, and if they want to smoke a cigarette, they go outside and they smoke a cigarette.
In a smoke designated area, is that what you mean?
Well, I just don't think it's a good look. Now, if he can smoke 100 cigarettes a day, I don't really care. But when you're standing right out in front, and you got people driving in, I just think it looks like he's not working at all. Just standing there.
Bothers me when people smoke cigarettes at the fuel pump.
Well, you know, maybe out back somewhere where he's not just,
Not there, I'm talking about when you're getting gas at the gas
Yeah,
station.
yeah.
It's like, what are
No.
you thinking?
I don't know if that's an unreasonable, you know, position to take, but,
well, we're shorting an employee now,
no,
so we're already short employees for that there.
I'm talking about behavioral stuff, you know.
Right, but it's to the minimum, again, I'm not gonna talk about
Yeah,
any
that's
employees
fine.
individually for this, but for what we are, again, not bringing up pay, but it's
Yep.
just key things. You are getting what we're paying for. And I can't blame the guy for what he does or what he does, you know, but there's no way to, I mean, we could tell him to go out back. Sure, then no one's watching what's happening in the front, so then it's, people can do whatever, you know, start doing whatever they want, cause there's nobody out front. You know, we don't have set time clock, because again,
Where is this?
Recycling.
it's like, so,
And that's what's important, is that they're watching to make sure the stuff goes in the right bins.
Right, right.
or they're just gonna have to go fix it later. So again, it's one of those revolving doors where, you know, again, I have my own personal feelings on it.
I haven't had
Yeah,
any
but
problems with
that's-
them personally, I know others have,
No,
but,
oh, yeah.
you know.
But like everybody, everybody's had problems with somebody in this town, whether it's that department, that department, that department. You ain't gonna feel like he said before. You're not
That's
gonna make
living.
everybody happy. That's just
Yeah.
small town living.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm gonna end it off right there. Hopefully that was good enough for an explanation. And, we can continue this after.
Don't tell the town administrator applicants about any of this. Tell them it's a friendly town, no one complains about anything, everything goes smoothly.
It's all good.
You know?
This is a televised meeting.
Alright. Anybody got any parting thoughts before we, wrap up?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Alright, all in favor? Any opposed? Alright, any abstains? Alright, I guess we're adjourned.
This will be the first time we get out of this
Thank you.
time.
Yeah,
Next meeting, next Thursday?
next
Thursday.
Thursday.
All right.
Hopefully we get that school
Same time.
fall.
Get next one the week after, I believe.
On the calendar.
What's to do with you guys? I didn't see you guys very much.
Budget committee meeting.
Slash planning
I was
board.
busy with all the shit I was doing, so.
He's trying to build a
Had people come this late.
top screen. He just got the floor board yesterday.